Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays. Can you believe it? It seems like we were just saying that a few days ago. It's also Cyber Monday, and I want to talk to you about all the things that you can do. Did you see that lineup? I mean, first of all, I am so honored and so thrilled that Goldie Dver, who's waiting in the wings, asked me to do this show. I am going to be sharing a stage with so many of my favorite friends next Sunday night at 7 p.m. at Don't Tell Mama. And in addition to that, it's a benefit for St. Jude's Research Hospital. By buying your tickets, you will also get an automatic raffle ticket. And we've got some amazing prizes that we're going to be giving away. When I think about what's going to be happening next Sunday night, it takes me back to when I was a kid and all those very special variety shows were on television, and how I used to love to watch the Andy Williams Christmas special every year, and Bing Crosby and Judy Garland and so many. But there was one thing that none of them had, and that was Goldie Dver, James Beaman. And they're both here today.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Gotta
Ah,
get chacha in there.
You know,
the whole mishpuchet's here.
Happy
Yes.
Kwanzaa. Do you
as
say
I
happy
say with every
Kwanzaa?
show, there's always something to celebrate when you take the time to do so.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. What the heck is Cyber Monday? Is it just a way to extend Black Friday through to the week after
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving?
Absolutely. But I want to talk about that for a moment, because
Absolutely.
to me, Cyber Monday is utilizing the internet for to sell things, to get your name out there. And there are a couple of things, and we're going to talk about this. But I'm going to bring this up first, because Goldie, you are doing this as a benefit for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital.
Right.
And I've done many benefits for them over the years, so you don't have to twist my arm to ask about this organization. But why St. Jude's for you?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm a cancer survivor, 17 years out, breast
bless you.
cancer. But I still remember how I felt when I heard those 3 words, "You have cancer." And I can't even imagine how a parent feels when they're told their child has cancer. And their commercials, their commercials really hit my heart. I tear up. I just think they're such an amazing organization, because not only do they treat the children and do research that has improved their survival rate. 20 years ago when they started, the survival rate, or 50 years ago when they started, the survival rate was 20%. The survival rate is now up to 80%. And most of that is due to the research they have done through the years. And on top of that, the parents don't pay a penny. They don't pay for treatment. They don't pay for housing. They don't pay for food or transportation. St. Jude makes it possible for the families to be with their children through the treatment. And that is so important for the families and for the child. It's the most difficult thing they're going through, and that just makes it easier to be there to offer each other love and support. So I think they're just an amazing organization. They're very close to my heart, and I'm so happy to do this. And Richard, I'm thrilled that you're joining us.
I am
You're
so
going
excited.
you're going to light up the stage as you always do. And wait,
Well,
Amy's going to perform as well.
yes.
With my co-star
And
over
his
here.
co-star.
I was just noticing, I love your little elf. He's
I
adorable.
want to say
Thank you.
I want to say 2 things before we move on. Number one, thank you, Danny Thomas, for starting this, and Marlo Thomas for
Marlo Thomas.
continuing this, and they worked tirelessly at this.
Yep.
But when I was 13 years old, my cousin Tanya got cancer, and she unfortunately succumbed to it. And as a 13-year-old kid, it was the first time that I had encountered the passing of someone younger than me.
Yeah.
And it is the most horrendous thing for a family to go through. And so thank God for the work that they all do. And the fact they do it by giving and giving and giving. that's what this holiday season is all about. Um, don't give any gifts to me. Give them to St. Jude, who's watching up there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I want to bring, you said two words that I want to hone in on. This would be like the duck coming out of the ceiling. And those two words
I win a
are,
prize. It's like the next
those two
$1,000.
words are love and support.
Yeah.
And you and Jamie have such a love and support for each other. It's palpable. And Jamie, why don't you tell us how it began and what it is about Goldie? I mean, friends come and go in our lives, but
Yeah.
you two, for all I know, have been there together since the very beginning.
Well, 26 years or so, and we met selling cosmetics on the selling floor at Henry Bendel's on Fifth Avenue. And look, I mean, I could go through the whole saga of all the shows we've done together and the collaborations we've had and the friendships that we formed between Goldie and her late husband, Paul, and me and my rotten ex. No, I'm kidding. And all of those adventures that we had together in cabaret and nightclub. And then our lives diverged for 10 years. And it wasn't through anybody's sort of intent. It was just, I went to graduate school, I went away, and and Goldie and
You
Paul
were on the road,
started to become
regional,
big,
right?
yeah, and Paul was becoming poorly, and Goldie was really keeping the fire. She's a tough cookie. And when Paul passed, almost immediately she called me on the phone, and I'm sitting here eating macaroni and cheese, and she says, "It's Goldie," and I'm like, "Hi," and she's like, Paul is gone, and I want to sing again." And I said, "And so you shall, and so you shall," and she has not stopped singing since then, and I'm so thrilled to have her in my life. But really, more than that, she's a great friend. She's the kind of person that my mother always wanted to be, always was, and the kind of she's a mensch. She's a good person. She's a menschette. A menschette. She's somebody you can count on as a friend, and she has certainly proven that to me. So I love her.
But Jamie, you're that as well to me. So,
You're
even
stuck with me, kid.
Yeah, I mean, even though we hadn't been in touch through those 10 years because of our just lives taking different paths, when I called you, you were there immediately, and you were just so loving and supportive.
Yeah.
And it was like the 10 years hadn't even been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Survival isn't really worth it unless you come out the other side with the gift it contains, the knowledge, the wisdom, the open heart. That it's it's so corny to even talk about it, but
it's true.
It is. But it's a Christmas Carol. It's what Scrooge goes through overnight through a series of things. You have to face the dark, and you have to come through it, and you have to reach for the light, and you have to find the right people to reach for it with you. That's the essence of the season, of all this, all of it. It's all about light, right? We're doing this wonderful song at the end of our show that a lot of people don't know. Goldie didn't know, and now she, of course,
turned me on to it. And now I love it.
Wonderful song by Stephen Schwartz, the Hanukkah song, "We Are Lights." We are lights, lights of memory. It's a beautiful song. It's gonna tear you apart. But then you also get Sidney Meyer singing "Santa Baby" and a whole lot of other goodies
that we're not going to play yet.
I had the distinction of doing Santa Baby on the main stage, not on one of the side stages. On the main stage at Carnegie Hall, with the New York City Gay Men's Chorus behind me. And that was, as Carol Channing, I performed Santa Baby.
That's a lot of gay men behind you, honey.
That's a lot of gay men behind me. And I remember, and I will never forget, Jeffrey Maynard was the artistic director of the chorus at that time. And he came out on stage and he said, "It is so nice to have you here at Carnegie Hall, Miss Channing." And I said, and I remember, "It is so nice to be had at Carnegie Hall." And it the house down. I mean, it was.
I would have loved to have seen that.
I mean, first of all, and this is not lip service, I'm going to put this little background on that I had there. And if it gets distracting, you both tell me and we'll take it off. And I'm going to do this because I want people to see some of the names that are going to be popping up.
Yeah, we need to fill up this house. I mean, if we're not sold out yet, we're close to it. We have to be. Come, do. And if you can't, donate. There'll be plenty of video. Look at the names. We've got Tanya Moberly. This woman is a powerhouse. Carolyn Montgomery. She's one of the bright lights of the community. Sydney, of course. I mean, it's a who's who, and it's some young people. It's some up and comers.
Look at that.
Richard Skipper.
No, it is so exciting. And you know what I love about this time of year? I know that there are some Scrooges out there. We know who they are. Who always complain, oh, I hate hearing the Christmas songs again. I hate going to the supermarkets. I hate doing, But for me, when I hear my first holiday song of the season, and I heard it on the radio the other day, and it was Do You Hear What I Hear? And I get goosebumps. I sit and I watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I don't know any of the artists in it anymore. But at the end, when Cheryl Lee Ralph appeared as Mrs. Santa Claus, and then there was Santa Claus, first of all, it made me cry.
That voice.
Yes.
I thought, thank God that the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I don't know if you both remember this, but during COVID, when they had to scale back.
Oh, yeah.
In the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, they had the gay marching band. They had all of these people on the parade because they said they are all about inclusivity. And I love that that we're celebrating all of that. But what I started to say is that this time of year, that not only do we hear these songs of these great artists that are no longer physically with us, we hear their music again. But then to get a new Christmas album this year, do you know what the #1 selling record in the country is right now?
No.
Cher's Christmas album.
Hey, come on now.
That she has.
Come on now.
I haven't listened to it yet, but I know that.
Of course.
But you saw her in the parade as well.
Yes.
She was the.
Well, I'm not sure. I've concluded that Cher is nothing more than a very, very high-tech hologram at this point. I think she's just a projection. She's like Marlon Brando in Superman. You know what I mean? She just is now this entity beamed from another planet. I mean, she sounded great to me.
Look, it's good. Let me tell you.
I have to ask, Michael Walters is joining us, and I love Michael. Is Michael appearing?
No surprises. We don't let the kitten out the bag.
We don't know. Michael Walters has many guises.
I know.
You just have to come and find out. We don't want to give anything away. I have written brand new lyrics to a song which will be of interest to you, Richard Skipper, but I'm not going to give it away. But it is it is an area that you are a great expert at,
and you too.
Yes, but this is a rewrite of lyrics of a song
you're very familiar with. Yes,
written by Mr. Jerry Herman, and Goldie's going to sing it as her opening number with all new lyrics that I have penned out of my feverish brain.
I will say that Jerry is being well represented on.
Has to be. Him and Irving Berlin. Come on. That's Christmas.
When Sydney sings Santa Baby, he does a different version that has become a classic. Everyone knows him for doing this song, and that's why I wanted him to open the show with this song.
Yep.
And can we mention the raffle that we're having?
Oh my God, of course.
Reading my mind.
Okay.
You guys, you get a raffle ticket with your entry. So your cover's $35. It seems like a lot, but you're getting it.
30.
It's 30.
Here's
30.
the cover, and it
includes the raffle ticket.
I want to say the tickets are $30, but if you want to give $35 or more, it all goes to St. Jude's.
That's right.
That's right. You bet it does.
To St. Jude, and we will have extra raffle tickets available for $10 each, or 3 for $25. What a bargain! When you hear some of the prizes that are being offered for this raffle, like anyone in the cabaret community would just drool over these prizes. Let's
Yeah,
start off.
this is like the Cabaret Maven treasure trove of
Let's start off with
prizes.
Jamie. Jamie, who has designed all of my graphics for the past several shows that I've done, and is now doing graphics for several people in the community. You'll always know a Jamie Beaman card because of the style and the panache, and they're gorgeous. He has offered to do graphics for posters, postcards, social media for someone's upcoming show. We
It's a
have
package.
Yes, we have Connor Weiss, who will do
Can I,
photography.
before you go on, I want to say, and also, if you win James's package, for example, and you don't have a show coming up or nothing to promote, it's a great gift for somebody who does.
There you
Or
go.
Or, we will have certain time limits on these things, and you'll work them out with each person that is offering them. But if your show is, you have a date for next year or something, just work it out with Jamie. Okay. We have Richard.
Yeah.
Richard, you have been so generous to offer a complimentary banner ad to a lucky winner for 1 week on your Richard Skipper Celebrates. And you've also been so generous.
I'll throw in an extra thing, and
Yes,
you can come on one of the shows. Bring in
Oh,
one of the shows also. I'll help get the word out about their next performance.
Absolutely. And you're wonderful with that. You're helping us get the word out on your website as well.
didn't Jeff Harner donate
Jeff
an
Harner
hour of
donated
coaching time?
a coaching session. Lenny Watts donated a coaching session. We
Best
also
of the best.
have 2 complimentary tickets to the Bistro Awards next year on April 1st.
You got them
Yes.
on April Fool's Day.
Yes. I didn't want to very okay. Was that intentional? And then we have also banner ads being offered in Nightlife Exchange, being offered on Cabaret Scenes magazine. We have a coaching session from Bill Zeffiro, vocal coaching session. The list goes on and on. We have more than a dozen of these amazing prizes and services that are being offered. So again, you already get 1 ticket included in your cover charge, but there's the option to buy more once you're there. And we will have things set up. So if you want to and are able, we all know it. Look, it's tough. Everybody is dealing with, finances and things. So we understand. But anything that you're able to donate, we'll have an extra little donation box set up if you want to throw a couple ones in there, or 5 or 10 or 20.
Or as Carol says in Hello Dolly, 5s or 7s.
There you go. There you go.
She also says money is not worth a thing unless it's spread around, encouraging young things to grow.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
This show is going to feel like one of the, I mean, we did benefits like this in the 90s all the time. And they had different themes. And of course, we all remember Ruby Rims and Friends. And we all remember Jamie DeRoy and Friends and, all that stuff. This is like a high-end, take over the piano bar and have a whoop-de-doo.
Elegant
together.
soiree. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's to me, the fact that so many people of such caliber jumped at the opportunity to be a part of this. Like
everyone
that.
said yes immediately. I'm so grateful.
Such a great thing.
It just
so great.
I didn't have to twist anyone's arm. Everyone said yes immediately. And I just couldn't be more grateful. And it really touched my heart.
And it's more than an open mic. I mean, this is a show. We've got John Miller on bass. We've got Chip Fabrizi on drums. We've got Michael Roberts at piano. And on top of that, we get guest pianist Bill Zeffiro, Tracy Stark, who will be accompanying herself on a song of her own composition, Stevie. I mean, so it goes beyond just the incredible talent on stage. It's the incredible musicianship. It's the original room at Don't Tell Mama.
Yes.
Let's go. And it's where the fun is at.
That are on this show, we all made our debut at Don't Tell Mama.
That's right. That's right. That's home. That has always
in the Paleolithic period.
Please.
I made my first appearance on the back the back room. We used to call it back room.
The back
But
room,
the
right.
original
Back
room, in 1988, my mother created a review called Noel Coward's Marvelous Party. And we had done it up in Boston at the Club Cabaret up there. I was 21. I just come out of school. And we came, and Sidney Meyer said, come and do the show a couple of times. Did it a couple of times for about a couple of people. But God, that was like, I can never forget that first time in that space. And,
Yeah, that's
you
so
know,
wild, Jamie, because I made my debut at Mama's with Goldie's Broadway Diner with Paul, musical directing and playing for me, and directing, and and collaborating. I made my debut. I don't remember the exact year. I'd have to see if I could find the postcard, but it was late 80s or very early 90s. But we didn't know each other then. We didn't
we
meet
did
till
not.
97.
And I quickly moved back to Boston to get my feet wet and get some experience. Richard, what was your debut at Don't Mama?
April 21st, 1995.
Wow.
Wow.
I know because the poster is up here on the wall.
Oh, okay. That was the heyday.
I was performing as Judy Garland, and
Right.
I was doing midnight shows, and we were bringing them in.
Right. Because people went out late in those days. People partied.
What is wrong with people? I did a 9:30 curtain at the Triad recently. I'm like, geriatric much? Children.
Yeah.
9:30 is the shank of the evening on a Thursday. Come on.
Another plug here. On Friday night, I'm going to see, it's going to be the New York premiere of this documentary on Studio One from LA. And I don't know if you know anything about Studio One, but Studio One was the basis for Studio 54 in New York. And it is against the backdrop. I mean, Chita Rivera performed there. Julie Budd performed there. Rosalind Kind, Donna McKechnie. They are all in the film.
Wow.
And I interviewed Mark Saltarelli. And I've been saying, when are you coming to New York? And this film on Friday night is at 10:30. And
well, it should be if that's the subject, right?
Remember
what's wrong with that?
Remember when we used to take disco naps?
Honey.
Yes.
I used to, when I was clubbing in the 80s, it was 1987, 88. And I was working at the front desk at the Omni Park Central Hotel.
I know that.
In Midtown Manhattan. You know that hotel? Jackie Gleason lived in that hotel. Right. So I worked at the front desk. I was a twig. Okay. I had just come out of college. Got befriended by a group of guys who went clubbing 4 nights a week. But I get out of work at midnight. That's too soon, darling. Too soon. So we go down and we'd pregame down in the Village. We'd go to Uncle Charlie's, or we'd go to Trax, one of these like sleazy bars downtown, until it was about 2. And then we'd hit the clubs. Oh my goodness.
I told you.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
Yes.
I do remember you go to a late night show, and then you go out afterwards for drinks and maybe a bite to eat. And then after that, you'd go dancing and to some late night club till dawn. And then you'd go home and have a little fun. And then you'd sleep.
Right.
I mean, those were
a lot of fun.
Our early New York days.
You knew you were hardcore when you were in a club. We all remember this. You were in a club, and there were 2 hours in the morning that by law they could not serve alcohol.
Right.
Between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Right.
So you'd be dancing and boogieing and doing other things. Nobody was drinking anyway. They were doing other things. But, and the booze would dry up, and they'd put out buffets.
Right.
All of these people sweating and they put out, a spread of like bagels and things and donuts and stuff because they wanted to keep you there until 6.
Right.
And of course, you stayed long after 6.
You didn't go home until the sun was up. That's for sure.
No, of course. My coming out process, I started at the Monster. I would leave the Monster, and I would go to Marie's Crisis, where I ended up becoming a singing waiter there. That's where I met Danny. I would leave Marie's Crisis. I would go to the Duplex, the original Duplex. Then I would leave the Duplex. I'd go to the Five Oaks. I would leave the Five Oaks. I would go, and I'd just do a couple of songs in all these places.
Oh, sure.
And I was cuter in those days. I never had to buy a
Oh,
drink.
you're so adorable.
I
Please.
never had to buy a drink.
I never had to buy a drink, and I don't drink. So for me, that was a Coca-Cola. And
Oh
then I
my
would go to
goodness.
88s, and if I felt really ambitious, I would get on the subway and go to Don't Tell Mama,
Yes.
then to Broadway Baby,
Oh
and then I would retrace my steps, and I did that every week.
no.
That was my life in the 80s.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. That's a
you're
lot of
now.
shoe leather, honey.
It was a lot of shoe leather, and it taught me everything about me
Yeah.
as an entertainer, what I do
Sure.
with an audience, and everything that all came from performing in those rooms. And the interesting thing about this is that when this all started, there was a whole group of us that were all starting out at the same time. Michael Mackesy, Michael Barbieri, Mark Allen,
Yep.
Philip Pastore. I mean, all of us were like
Michael
Yeah.
Vaccaro.
Michael. Oh, well, I didn't know. I think Michael's.
Did you overlap with Michael?
Did I what?
Overlap with Michael Vaccaro.
No, I'm a little older than he is. I think
Oh, okay.
so. I don't think that.
I always want to make him seem older because he looks amazing.
Oh
Like
my
he looks
God. Have you
insanely good.
seen
I
him?
mean, he just is perennially gorgeous.
Oh
Michael,
my
if you're
God.
listening,
But the
that head of hair,
the
the
West
hair.
definitely agrees
And
with
he
him.
gets better and better. I
Yes.
remember, and there are certain memories that stick with me. I remember walking into Broadway Baby and hearing Natalie Douglas sing Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. And I
Wow.
fell in love with her. And there was nothing like it. I mean, and to this day, I mean, still, she just touches me on so many levels. But all of these artists that are, part of this evening, how many nights all of us have spent in the dark, watching them on stage, doing their magic.
Right.
And then Goldie and James, you're bringing them all together.
Well, it's all Goldie. It's all Goldie. Goldie's a charming lady. Goldie could charm the pants off of you.
What?
And she also is committed to what she's doing, and she's legit. Like Goldie's legit. And I think people know that, and they trust that about her. And the kinds of people who've rallied around her. I mean, her duet with Tanya Moberly in her recent show. Last year, our big CD launch, and Carolyn Montgomery came out and killed it. And Goldie makes friends, and she brings people along for the good stuff. And this is going to be good stuff. We've got Bill Zeffro singing his own music and accompanying himself, which is always classic. We've got Tracy Stark singing her own stuff, which we never get to hear enough of. So we've got all these musician performer types, but we've got characters.
Got Lenny Watts. We got Lenny Watts.
Yeah,
We got
all kinds of musical styles. We've got Aaron Lee Battle.
Aaron Lee Battle. Oh, wait till we hear what he's going to sing. So good.
I don't want to give it away, but he's gonna gonna take us to church.
Yes.
Aaron Lee Battle was a regular when I performed my Judy Garland show. It was a fictitious episode of her show, and Aaron Lee Battle appeared in my show as Billy Eckstein.
Ah, I can imagine that.
I mean, we go way back together. I want to ask you, James. I know that you're from Boston, from that area. Goldie, and you grew up in
Philly.
In Philly.
Yes.
I want to ask you both, and Goldie, you can go first. If you remember your first Christmas in New York, your first holiday in New York, away from your family.
Actually, that took a while because I was going home for holidays for many years. And it was what happened. We still traveled, even when Paul and I married and everything. I tended to travel home over the holidays because, as Jamie said, we met as, makeup artists in Bendel's, and that was the busiest time. So once Christmas was over, that week between Christmas and New Year's was when I could plan to go to my home in Philly, and we could have our family thing there. But we traveled in the beginning for Thanksgiving, But then we stopped that too because so we spend Thanksgiving in New York all the time because it's the worst time to travel. And the two of us would spend Thanksgiving together here in the apartment. And because we could watch the Macy's Day Parade from our bedroom window.
Yes.
Yes, it goes right past our bedroom window on Columbus Circle. And we would be woken up by the first marching band around 9 o'clock. And I'd go in and I'd make us hot chocolate and bring it back to bed. And then we'd watch the parade from our bed. And that was delightful. And then, we'd start patting around and we'd have something to eat here. And so Thanksgivings were always really lovely here. Christmas, I would be here, but I wasn't really able to celebrate Christmas time here. And, I loved the whole holiday spirit. It just, I would have tried to avoid though the typical sort of tourist places because it just started getting crazier and crazier with
It's hard too, though, don't you think, when you work in retail for all these years? I have 15 years of retail on big, busy department store floors. It does kind of,
it takes
eats into your
away.
Christmas magic.
It
Yeah,
And so
it
I'll be
does.
honest with you, I feel much more Christmas spirit this year.
Yeah, I was
I
saying
have
this
a
before.
long time.
Mhm.
I was very annoyed at the beginning of October when I would see Santa Claus displayed in the store right next to the scarecrows and the witches because
Yeah.
Christmas was coming out right with Halloween. I was just like, just too soon. But once the week of Thanksgiving hit, and Jamie and I also got to go down to AC to Atlantic City to see the Christmas show at the Borgata that
Fantastic.
truly choreographed. Oh my God, just amazing.
You guys, good old fashioned Chris. If you're in the Atlantic City area
You
and
must.
you go to the Borgata, it's just like this little confection. It's every cheesy,
And the
corny, wonderful thing
dancing.
about Christmas you want, and girls kicking themselves
Oh
in the
my
face.
God, those
It's
dancing
fantastic.
girls are. It's you don't go to Radio City. Go to Atlantic City. You're gonna
Yeah.
see
The
amazing.
two stars are little people who sing their faces off.
Yes,
Like
and they're
they are
delightful.
truly amazing.
And
Christmas
then
in
they
the
have
air.
2 other singers too who take us through a lot of the show who are just everyone's really so
It's
talented.
really fun. So good.
So that's
Yeah,
sort
we
of
have been feeling Christmassy.
that
Yeah.
really kicked off my feeling that I'm ready now for the holidays. And when Thanksgiving hit too, I'm in the holiday spirit, I think, for the first time in in memory. I can't remember the last time I really was feeling holiday, like, yeah, it's the holidays.
I read an article recently, and it was about the do's, the don'ts, and the changes that we can all make in the holiday season. Danny and we've been together 35 years, going next year, and there's not a material thing that I want, and we made a pact with each other. We don't really exchange gifts anymore because we will take that money and we will have a fabulous trip this summer. We're going to go to London to
Oh,
see Imelda Staunton and Dolly, and I'm hoping to perform while I'm
Fabulous.
there.
Yes.
But it's for us. It's decorating our house, which we love to do, and we do that. And then the dinners that we have here with our friends. There's
Mhm.
nothing like that for me. James, do you remember your first holiday in New York away from your family?
Well, I think about that. uh, you know, my ex and I, Damien, we moved here at different times because I got this job offer out of nowhere to do Whoop De Doo up Broadway, and it was the summer of '93, and I had to like just get here, be here, and I was sleeping on my friend's floor and till I found an apartment, and it was Mark Allen's old apartment on
Oh,
Ninth Avenue.
wow.
He and his hubby were going suburban,
I know
and
that.
they
I
yeah, it was
remember
a
that.
dark little hole of an
I
apartment.
remember that dark
Uh,
little hole, yes.
so it was a hard candy Christmas. I will say
Yeah.
that for us as a young couple just starting out in New York. And I was doing drag, and I had just gotten into the La Cage Review, so I was making a little bit of money at the Blue Angel Supper Club. And it was kind of swanky in a way. And not long after that, my ex joined Ballet Trocadero. But other than that, my favorite day in New York City and I've been in here 30 years in this neighborhood, is Christmas morning.
Yes.
It
Mm.
is silent.
Yes. Yes.
Silent in the city. And my ritual is to get up early, because I'm always up early on Christmas morning. I'm like a child. Anyway, whether I'm here by myself, I don't know,
Mhm.
whatever. There is that feeling in the air, And, Jews love Christmas. Trust
Yes.
me. We're
Yes.
so sentimental. Anyway, but I get up early, and I go out and I either bring my hot cocoa or I find me a Starbucks and I get me a hot drink and I just walk all the way up to the park. I'll walk across over to Carnegie Hall, walk up to Central Park. It's as if some genie came along and disappeared all the human beings from the planet. It is quiet and it is peaceful, and you can
True.
look
Yes.
around you and be like, "What? This is like a place to live and a place to be, and it's so peaceful." Isn't that weird? Because
No, it's
everybody likes
it's
the
not weird.
excitement. I don't
It's
know.
not weird
No,
at all. It's really wonderful.
there
And
have been moments, like that. I want to again ask each of you if there are certain rituals from your childhood that you still carry through to your adulthood.
yes.
Because it's like the song, children from 1 to 92. We all, I think, at this time of year become more childlike. Some more than,
Yes.
but do you do you have a favorite ritual that you still carry through with you?
Yes. Um, when I was a child in South Philly is where I was born, and then I was there till I was like 9 or 10. Um, we celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas. Christmas was not religious to us. I grew up in a neighborhood where every family was either Italian or Jewish. And I always said Italian and Jewish, same culture, just a different menu.
That's
And
right.
and so we would on Hanukkah, the aunts and the uncles and my grandmother, my parents, they would give us Hanukkah gelt. We were thrilled. We'd get $5 from Bubby every year. And it was like magic. And I had my next door neighbor, Rhoda, my mother's friend, would every single year buy me for Hanukkah a package of panties, 7 panties that each had the days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I knew that every year I'd get the set of 7 panties days of the week from Rhoda.
And
And
you would have a pair of panties for every day of that
every
week.
day. And Rhoda also
That's
made the
funny.
best latkes, but not potato latkes, just regular mozzarella latkes, really thin, a little small, and we would sprinkle sugar on them. They were delicious. Then on Christmas, we didn't have a tree. We didn't decorate the house for Christmas, but my sister and I would wake up early. That's when we got our big presents. And my sister's presents would be piled up on the left-hand side of the couch, and my presents would be on the right side of the couch.
Every
And
year.
every year. And we'd go down and we'd have full Christmas morning and Christmas Day. And Christmas Day, traditionally, we would have Chinese food. All Jews.
Of
It's always
course.
Chinese food on Christmas Day. My father would
Tradition.
so
Yes.
my father would go pick it up and bring it home. We wouldn't eat in the restaurant. We'd eat at home. My father would go pick it all up from the restaurant. So
Poo-poo
I
platter.
still keep those traditions with my nieces and nephews where for Hanukkah, they get gelt. For Christmas, they get their big gifts. Although these days I'm giving them more checks and cash anyway, because they're all grown women and I don't know exactly.
Everyone loves cash.
Yes, let them do with it whatever makes them happy. And I still do I now make the latkes and do that. And every Christmas, because I'm here on Christmas Day, I order up Chinese food.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
I
So
to me, that's a feast. I Goldie, I want you to indulge me for a moment.
okay.
I want to shift gears for just a brief moment, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, just recently, I had the great pleasure of seeing James and you, of course, at the Triad
Oh,
in your amazing show, James. And I know that you are going to be doing a live stream viewing party
Yeah.
on December 10th.
Yes.
So I want to, if you don't mind, Goldie, I'd like to show a little teaser of James'
Okay.
show.
Oh,
And
please.
then, yes, and then we'll talk about the show on the other side. Here it is.
Yeah.
Great.
Now this, right? It's never too late to blow a kiss, especially at a time like this. And it's never too late to fall in love.
Bodie-o, bodie-o, bodie-o. It's never too late for fun and larks. A jolly old flame's got lots of sparks. It's never too late to fall in love.
Bodie-o, bodie-o-dee-o-do.
The modern buildings that you see are often most alarming, but I am sure you'll all agree
A ruin can be charming. It's never too late to be a pro.
experience counts a lot, you know.
And it's never too late to fall in. Never too late to fall in. Never too late to fall in love.
Ooh,
You need to come out of your shell.
I
Wonderful.
know. I'm such a little small retired thing.
What I loved about this evening was that it was just sheer abandon. You just went out there and you just had the time of your life, and as a result, those of us in the audience had a great time. I'll share with you something that Carol Channing once said, and she said there are seals, there are entertainers, and there are performers. She said a seal is a performer. It cares about one thing, that's getting a fish and balance. You know, it will balance a nose. I can't even talk.
Ball on its nose, yeah.
It will throw balance a ball on its nose, flap its fins, do anything to get that fish. It doesn't care about the audience. It's just doing its thing. And then there are entertainers. And James, you are an entertainer. Goldie, you're an entertainer.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
is.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, it's not about, oh, look at me and what I'm doing. It's like, let's share this experience and have fun together and just have a shared experience.
I think there's an interesting transition happening. You know, things kind of align at the times that they're supposed to, and I think people like us, you know, would give or take a few years amongst us, but generally, we're steeped in a bunch of really great fucking stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
variety specials and entertainers like Shirley MacLaine and Sammy Davis Jr. and Anne Margaret and Shirley Bassey and
Anthony
all the
Newman.
greats.
Yes.
They were in our living room. We're surrounded by them. They're part of us. They're in us. They're out of us. We got to pass it along. And what I'm discovering in the cabaret nightclub world is that there's a coexistence happening, right? We were talking about this the other day, and not to sell anybody short at the Birdland, but, you know, Cast Party has become a jazz showcase in the very best way. I mean, there'll be some musical theater and some cabaret folk that will come along, but there's a really growing young jazz, vocal jazz musical scene. That's fabulous as part of that fabric, right? But I think people are like us. You reach a certain age and you're like, I got stories to tell. I got things that I know. And the kind of nightclub act that I wanted to do, if I learned anything, and in addition to teaching people like Goldie, directing people like Goldie, and directing Alex DeSouza, who started out wanting to just get back on stage at 50 and celebrate her birthday, and ended up with, you know, three of the greatest singers in town as her backup band, you know, a whole backup band.
Alex,
We're ambitious, and we know how to get shit done, and we support each other in the way that we used to. It's very Follies-esque to me. But in a good way. It's like we're all coming back around and going, hey, we love this stuff. And let's go all out.
yes.
Let's go all out.
But Richard, you're that entertainer as well.
Yeah.
Well,
mean, let's be real.
The show we're talking about doing is going to be epic.
Oh, I can't
Epic,
wait.
epic, Richard Skipper.
I will tell you,
Collaboration, I can't wait.
Danny and I were in Provincetown right after, I think it was the first time that you were allowed to go out again after the pandemic. So we were there. And Miss Richfield, who I love, we had gone to see a show. And when Miss Richfield introduced me to this other person that was standing next to her, she said, "This is Richard Skipper. He used to be an entertainer."
Huh.
And I felt like a knife went right through me.
That,
But what Miss Ridgefield was not being rude or anything. All that she was seeing was what I'm doing here. And so I started doing this as a result of COVID. And, and it's very interesting in this business. And James, you know this better than anybody. People want to pigeonhole you, and they want to put you in this box, and they want to say, this is who you are. If you don't believe me, read Barbara Streisand's autobiography.
it's true.
She, throughout her book, throughout her career, anytime she wanted to try something different or anything, they did not want to allow her to do this. And I don't know, the powers that be, whoever they are out there. I was on a site the other day, and another impersonator, someone I consider to be a good friend. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to out this person, but there was an article in a great gay publication about this person. And it was so full of love and how much he loves what he does, and that, all these great divas that he performs as. And then in the comment sections, every single one was cutting. It was bitchy. It was nasty, attacking this guy. And I wanted to say, for God's sake, this person's only trying to create art. Yeah. He's not trying to, point a gun at any of you. None of you are forced to go see. None of you are forced to see the show. For all of us, whether
they're all such experts.
And they're all experts.
They're all such experts. Look, we've all had this thrown at us. I'm sure you did too.
Yeah.
And when I was doing Marlene Dietrich, believe you me, people think they own that shit and can give you. I no joke. My first pictures, all of my best pictures are Stephen Mosher pictures, of course, right?
Mine too.
So, right. So I had this picture, and it had my hands up at my face, and I'm looking up, and it's like the key lighting.
Gorgeous,
okay.
gorgeous.
Old picture, old forms of retouch. We didn't have digital retouch in '94 or whatever the fuck it was. Pardon my French. So I got my own postcard sent back to me in an envelope addressed to me in the mail. Opened it up with little Post-it notes and arrows drawn on it about what I did wrong with my makeup. But this random person who thought that he knew.
Oh my God. Jamie, I know that picture very well. I knew you then. And if I tell you that your makeup was flawless and fabulous, your whole look
got better and better. But in
that picture specifically, I would challenge people to know whether that was you or the real Marlena, because that's how much.
But the follow up is, Richard, of course, there's always a little chorus of pick a little, talk a little people who want to pick your thing apart and think they know it all. To me, it's like, can I be a little blue? I promise I won't say the F word again.
No, you can say it. We're all adults here.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. But anyway,
fucking language in front of a fucking lady.
I used to have a joke that I would pull out after a couple of martinis, and I'd be like, yeah, sure. Every gay man has 8 inches plus, right? Right. That's like if every gay man who claimed to have been at Carnegie Hall the night that Judy Garland recorded her great concert, the Loge would have collapsed.
Right.
Everybody knows,
Right.
Years ago, Tommy Femia, Stephen Brenberg, and myself, we were booked to perform at McClune's in Asbury Park. So we go to Asbury Park to do the show. It's a 90-minute drive from here. So we left early. We got there. We had a rehearsal. Christopher Denny was playing for us. We finished the rehearsal. And then we sat in, and you've all been in them, dressing rooms that are the size of a shoebox. And, because once you get into make, you're not going to go out. You're stuck in this little space, waiting to go on, waiting to go on. So we did the show that night. It was very well received. And then after the show was over, somebody wanted to take a photograph with us. So I said, why don't we go on the stage, bring up the lights, and we'll stick around for photographs. Again, this is after being there all day. We were very gracious with every single person. And then on the following Saturday, on one of these chat boards, all that chat or something, somebody wrote about going to see the show. They said, Tommy Femia was bizarro in his performance. Then they said that meeting me was like meeting Carol Channing meets the Twilight Zone, because I never broke character. That I thought I was Carol. Well, when I was in costume, I never did break character. But the real star of the evening was Stephen Brenberg, and went on and on and on about Stephen. And I know that this person had to be a friend of his that wanted to put him on
Didn't
such
have to run you down.
To run us down. And so this
Well,
person,
thank you very much, Mr. Walcott.
but I responded to this, and I said,
Oh, you did? Ooh.
yes, I did. And I said, basically, Lenny Watts, who I love dearly, if he happens to be watching, and Lenny Watts said years ago, all I owe you is a good performance. And the fact that we all stayed around after the show when we were all tired, we all had to get back into Manhattan, and we did all these things, and that some person would attack us. Didn't say anything at all about the performance. It was
says a lot about them.
Right.
It was all about what happened after the show. And I responded and said, I am sorry that you had a less than experience. I don't understand what your intention is with this post. Mark Shaman reached out to me and said, thank you for speaking up for all of us.
Sure.
Because at the end of these shows, I mean, I have, a few weeks ago, someone said, Julie Andrews, I hate her. And I go, why do you hate Julie Andrews? Because she refused to give me an autograph once.
Because that's her job.
Right.
Because that's her job.
Right.
It's interesting to me. We're in a weird time because of this cyber world and the young folk who are inhabited. There's this weird cyber sphere. And there's a lot of critique, especially the movie, you know about the incels that do these scathing reviews of the new Star Wars movies and the Disney Plus series and all of this stuff. And they're bitter Betty, and everyone's a critic. I mean, it is Henny Youngman all the way, everyone's a critic.
Yeah.
And I think it's hysterical. Fran Lebowitz, I just posted, I post a quote of the day on my.
I love, and I put them in my newsletter.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah, good. Fran Lebowitz, she says, this world needs more knowledge and less opinion. Everybody's got an opinion, but I don't want to hear it.
I love Fran Lebowitz.
Me too.
She's like,
Fran Lebowitz is one of the interviews that got away, because I would
love. Oh my God, that would be.
I would get a hold of that if I could. I really would. She's so funny. She was on Bill Maher's Club Random, and he's like lights her cigarette for her, and he's like, I always like lighting a cigarette for a lady, and she's like, I'm not a lady, I'm a girl. I just love her to bits. I really do. And it's so funny.
Real. It's so
funny. So Goldie, let me ask you something, because
Yes.
since we're talking about the season, and 'tis the season, we're putting together the poster art and everything, and I grew up similar to Goldie, except that my father wasn't Jewish. And he was a set designer, so we had to have a Christmas tree, y'all. And so we always had a Christmas tree, and we always had stockings. We always did Christmas Eve and Santa Claus Christmas morning and all that stuff. But we also did Hanukkah. My mother used to say, we're Jews, but we have Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. But like, there is an appeal about Christmas time for Jewish people. It's why people like Irving Berlin. See, here's my theory. There's home movies somewhere of my mother and her two brothers growing up in Flatbush, Brooklyn, on East 10th Street in Flatbush, with their grandparents who spoke Yiddish, and their parents, and her father who had a Russian accent because he was an immigrant and all that. They did Christmas morning. And they would shoot home movies of them in their pajamas, pretending to yawn and stretch and come down the stairs. They couldn't have a tree. They were Jews.
No trees.
They
You
had
weren't allowed to have a tree.
They had stockings, but they weren't hung by the mantle. They were lined up on the hearth.
Yeah, we did have stockings too, but they weren't Christmas stockings. They were our knee socks.
But do you think it's an American thing? I think that's why Jewish immigrants wanted their kids to have Christmas, because their classmates did, that it was an American thing. And that's why people like Irving Berlin were inspired to write White Christmas. And
because
right?
Let's be real. I mean, Hanukkah is a different time every year because it follows the Jewish calendar. So sometimes it happens with Christmas. Sometimes, like this year, I think it's the 7th or 8th.
Next week.
It'll be done and over before Christmas hits. So, but Christmas is the same time every year, and we always had off that week for the Christmas holiday from Christmas through New Year's. So yes, that was, for all of us, again, it was a celebration. It was a celebration of holiday, family time. I mean, everybody cooked up a storm, and yes. So I think
and all the cultures living on top of each other. I mean, I grew up in Massachusetts. We were exotic where I grew up, but growing up around here in New York, for my best friend Mickey, who grew up on Long Island with his Italian, similar Irish, Italian, Jewish people, all the food, the different traditions,
it's all about
side by side,
and family, and talking about your ailments around the dinner table, and everybody sits and bitches a little bit, but yes, it's all about family, and it was just a time of abandon and happiness. And we looked forward to that Christmas morning like nothing. And we didn't need the Christmas tree. We would have go to our Italian friends' homes and do their Christmas, do the decorating of their trees. They would always do a certain night, and we'd help decorate their trees. And that lasted all the way through. When we moved to Northeast Philly, we had friends, Italians. Now, as the next generation, I'm the only one that actually married a Jew, and we still didn't have the tree, but we did still celebrate Christmas the same way, Hanukkah and Christmas.
Don't you think it's a New York thing too? Like, there's so many New York stories, New York movies set at Christmas time.
Yeah, because that's it's New York. Let's be real. It's the Rockefeller tree. It's all the stores. I mean, every big city has their version of it. But New York is the epicenter.
And there's always that moment at the peak of the movie with Harry met Sally. And to me, it is a New York thing, Christmas.
Yes, they're at the Empire State Building. They're skating at the rink. They're at the tree. I mean, yes. What was I just going to say about New York?
You know what I was going to say?
I was
thinking about family and where you're going to be on Christmas. And sometimes it's nice to just be by yourself in your cozy little apartment, watching, Alistair Sim or something.
Yeah.
But kids who are in the hospital, who are sick, with their families, needing to have a sense of the season for that child and to keep their spirits up and to come together as family. And those kids that are being helped by all those people. My mother was so well taken care of in the facility she was in at the end of her days. And children need even more feeling of safety and love and all that. And, the St. Jude Hospital, God bless you for all that you're doing. And we're going to sing our hearts out and make them laugh and sell some raffles. And Goldie, you've been a hero putting this whole thing together.
Absolutely.
Amy, I'm so glad you brought it around to that, because
had to plug the benefit again.
Well, because this is the first time I'm ever doing a Christmas show, and the only reason I wanted to do it was to do it as a benefit. Christmas time is, as you said at the beginning, Richard, it's about
giving.
It's about sharing. It's about the love. And that's why I wanted to do a Christmas show this year. And that's why I wanted it to be about St. Jude.
And you are. So
Well,
I want to thank you both. I mean, we are at the end of our hour, and I want to really of your time and everyone else's time as well. I'm
Thanks,
going
everyone.
to do as I do with all my shows, to have the final word. It could be about anything we spoke about today that you want to build upon, anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any final message that you want to leave everyone with today. After I finish, James, I'll turn it over to you, and then Goldie, you'll have the final word, and we'll end where we left off with a promo that is brilliant about the show, so you can all see who is there. Once again, everybody, I want to let you know that on Sunday night at 7 p.m. this Sunday night at Don't Tell Mama on 343 West 46th Street. I know that address better than I know my own. This incredible cast, I want to mention all of their names: Aaron Lee Battle, James Beaman, Alex DeSouza, Meg Flather, Sue Matsuki, Tanya Moberly, Carolyn Montgomery, Sydney Meyer, Richard Skipper, Tracy Stark, Vale, Lisa Vigiano, Michael Walters, Lenny Watts, Bill Zeffiro.
and I want to add, we have to add Craig Pomerantz, because we didn't have his name when
Craig
we did.
Pomerantz is also with us. And
yes.
Michael Roberts at the piano and musical director, John Miller on bass, Chip Fabrizi on drums, and the fabulous James Beaman directing it. It's going to be an incredible evening. I always end my show by telling everyone to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. Go to Don't Tell Mama's website. It's on Sunday night, and order 2 tickets. If you're not able to go, give them to a friend. That'll be a nice way to start the holiday season. And as we mentioned earlier, there are all these great raffles and everything that will be taking part in the evening. So give it to a friend. Let them, and go to your Facebook friends list and reach out to the 4th name and send it to them. And even if this is not someone that you break bread with, someone that's the 4th friend. And if they're not able to go, make sure that they give it to somebody who can. And let's pack this room. And let's, I think your goal is $1,500.
$1,500.
15,000. Let's raise, because I believe in Christmas miracles. It can happen. Everybody take part. Pick up the phone, call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Again, pick the 4th name that pops up, reach out with a phone call. I have a dear friend, Sean Moniger, and he says we're all in the same storm, but we're in different size boats. I don't care what size boat you're on, as long as you have a skipper by your side. And James, I will see you on Thursday virtually. We're working on something together.
Yeah, we're cooking something up.
Yes,
and good.
Exciting. And I'm turning it over to you, James. I love you both, and I'll see you on Sunday. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Well, goodness, I say too much already, but I am feeling the spirit too, as Goldie said. I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to feel optimistic sometimes, and I feel good this year. I feel like some good things are about to come, and I agree with Richard. It just occurred to me, money-making schemes. If you know somebody who's going to come on Sunday to join with us as we do this amazing benefit at Don't Tell Mama season with a twist, and you can't make it, or they're going to come, stick a $20 bill in their pocket. Tell them to buy some raffles. Give them $100 on their Venmo, and buy, the more the merrier. The more the merrier. And let's just really make it a great Christmas for those kids, And on December 10th, a week later, join me and David Mayako. He's hosting from Connecticut. I'm hosting from here in Manhattan. We're going to have a watch party of my show, Lived Experience, so that more people can see it. I'm real proud of this video. It came out really, really great. And it's a good message, and it's a good way to celebrate and thank everybody for all their support this year. So join us for that. There's a Facebook event for that you can sign up for updates about how to do that. And I'm going to hand it over to Goldie Dver. She's outdoing herself, people. It's going to be a beautiful show. She's the best. See you soon. Come and see us on Sunday.
Well, thank you, James. And I have to say that this idea was actually started as a little germ at the beginning of this year between Chip Fabrizi and myself. I'm doing a lot of work in his studio at PPI. And as we would sit during sessions, Chip actually said, wouldn't it be fun if we did a Christmas show and invited a bunch of our friends to just get up and do something and have fun with it? And we just sort of tossed it around and played around. And as the year wore on, it started to develop into more of a real thing. And that's when I started thinking about, if we're going to do a show, it has to be as a benefit. And the organization that really is closest to my heart is St. Jude's, for all the reasons I mentioned. And once we started developing that for real, that's when we brought Jamie in as director, and we've been collaborating and really just, I'm producing this. I guess, the driving force, but I could not do this without Jamie, without Chip, without Michael Roberts, without all the people that have been joining in and helping me with this and are behind me. And certainly I couldn't do this without all of these amazing performers who just jumped on board immediately. And so it's going to be a fabulous evening. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're all going to be decked out in our finest baubles, bangles, and beads. We're inviting you to bring out your bling too, if you like. I can guarantee you it'll be a fun evening, and it will benefit. It'll go to such an amazing cause. So we're hoping that you guys can come. You can check out the direct links on my Facebook page, on Jamie's, on Richard Skipper, on Richard Skipper Celebrates. There are a couple links that are being attached to this video. And if by any reason you can't come and you don't have somebody that you can send, which I think is a wonderful idea, please, anything you can do, $1, $2, $5, whatever. We have a direct link to the St. Jude's donation page for our fundraising. So I just want to wish everyone the happiest of holidays. I hope you get to share family time with not only your family, but your chosen family, your friends as well. And just enjoy. There's too much craziness going on in the world today. We have to appreciate and value and celebrate those times of happiness and joy and love whenever we get the opportunity. So wishing you all the happiest of holiday seasons and sending you love. Bye.